Top of the morning, Sonoma County, to all you manly men and hearty ladies, lovely ladies and hearty gentlemen, and everything in between. Planet Earth, and to all the aliens out there, a hearty and healthy hello from planet Earth to Uranus, to Moon, to Pluto, to Saturn, and to all those little green guys on Mars. We come in peace. We come in peace. All right, enough of the silliness. Let's get serious. It's a serious show today. Yes, serious. Damn it, man, I'm a doctor, not a dentist. All right, what are we talking about today? Let me get my head screwed on here. We're talking today, by the way, thank you for tuning into the show. You're listening to the Celtic Coach radio show where science, spirituality, and self-discovery meet. Yes. They kiss, they make love, they dance, they hold hands, they have dinner together, they do all those things. Now, if you're kind of thinking, what kind of a show am I listening to? It's a good cup of tea. Think about it this way. If Robin Williams for the comedy, Tony Robbins for the life coaching, Wayne Dyer and God for the spirituality, if they decided to put a show together and have an Irish guy do the show, so they're all me, and I'm all them. We're kind of a me-we group. This would be the show. So, spirituality, self-discovery, and science. Oh, did I say Neil deGrasse? Neil Tyson? What the hell is that guy's name? deGrasse Tyson, Neil deGrasse Tyson. Oh, God. Oh, now it's going downhill. Anyway, that guy, the Tyson guy, the deGrasse guy, hidden for the science. All right. Oh, God. Here we go. Today we're going to be talking about on the show, living fearlessly in the world. Now, there's so much going on in the world. There's so much fear in the world. Trump's doing this, the government's doing that, China's doing this, North Korea are doing that, Iraq is doing this, Iran is doing this, Kuwait just did that. I mean, it's freaking endless. There's just no question about it. It's endless. The amount of stuff that's out there to make us feel afraid, to give us the wallies and the willies. Now, all of that stuff is happening in the world. I'm not saying it's not. I'm not doing a denial the river in Egypt. I'm not saying it's not. What I'm going to talk about today and what you're going to walk away with from the show is realizing that none of those things that are happening in the world have anything to do with fear. Bum, 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 dramatic pause. Ah, yes, another cup of tea. No, I'm serious. Serious as a heart attack. We're going to be talking today. By the end of the show, I want you to walk away from the show. My intention for you walking away from the end of the show today, 1 hour, is that you're going to have a deeper understanding of where fear is created, where fear comes from. Fear is not an outside thing. 100% of our experience, fear, comes from our thought, not from the world. Think about it this way. Thought, like I was thinking about this morning for the show. By the way, what we're going to be talking today is thought creates your world. If it's to be, it must be up to me. You can plan your life, but don't expect your plan to work out. And fear is not real. It's just thought. We're going to talk more about that by the end of the show. And as always, I'll have lots of great questions for you to ask yourself throughout the show. And stories, of course. And then Seamus, the Irish leprechaun, is going to be here in about 40 minutes with the top 11 things you absolutely do not need to know about being a man. So it's for all the men out there today, but the ladies can listen in as well. All right. Now, I was thinking about this morning when I was sitting out on the deck just writing the show. And by the way, if your life is moving way too fast, slow down. I found the best way to create a great life is to slow down. Thought to me and the wind are the same thing. All right? Because thought, you feel your thoughts, but you can't see them. You can't touch them. You can't taste them. You can't put it in a bottle and sell it. You can't dilute it. You can't color them. right? You can't package it off and send it off to Dublin. And the wind is the same way. The wind is something that you feel, but you can never impress. You can't push into it. You can't touch it in terms of hold it. You can't see it, but you can feel it. And your thoughts are the same way. Now, saying that the world causes your fear is like saying that the wind causes diarrhea. It just doesn't. I mean, I haven't heard of it, but it may, but it does. I haven't heard of it. All right? When we look at the world, when we're looking at talking about thought creates your world, what I'm saying is that most of us out there, we blame the outside world for our inside thinking. We blame the outside world for how we are feeling, because thought, you have a thought, it comes in all day. We live in a thought-created universe. It comes in all day long. Thought creates a feeling, or you have a thought, and that thought transforms or is connected to a feeling, and that feeling is what you say your experience is. Oh, my husband just made me angry. No, he didn't make you angry. Your thoughts made you angry about what your husband did. Your thoughts made you angry about what the experience, how you just choose to experience your husband doing whatever he did. But you're choosing to experience that through thought. It can't be any other way. Think about it. Try it out for yourself. Find some evidence. Prove it for yourself. That when you're feeling crappy, and if you were just to turn the spotlight on your thoughts, you would find that you have crappy thoughts. When you're feeling insecure, if you were to turn the spotlight of attention on your thoughts, you would see that you're having insecure thinking. You are not insecure. You are a divine creation. You are infinite possibility, infinite potential, infinite creativity. So when we look at the world and we blame the world for how we feel, it's a misuse of thought. It's a misuse of thought. People misuse thought all the time. Thought was used to create. That's what thought is. Creation. First was the word, first was a thought. And that's the only biblical reference I have in my repertoire. I like that word, repertoire. Makes me sound very, very French, very sophisticated. Repertoire. But that's all I have in my repertoire. Okay. Enough about repertoire. Let's keep going. So we look at the world and we say, it's the world that's causing me to feel this way. But if you were to look at how you're feeling, there would always be a thought. Now, you may not be aware or conscious of the thought because we react so quickly, right? We're either reacting or creating. Now, you know what's fascinating is you take the word reaction and you take the word creation, and they're the same. All you do is you take the word C, the letter C from reaction, and put it in front of the R, and you get creation. Same word, reaction, creation. But most of us react to the world. We don't look at what's going on in the world and say, okay, how can I be creative here? My wife says something to annoy me, and I blame the wife for annoying me. Nothing to do with the wife. Because the wife could say that same thing that she said to you, she could say it to I was going to say the dog, but it probably wouldn't make any difference. But you could say it to her brother, her sister, to someone on the street. It would have a completely different meaning, a completely different reaction. Why is that? Thought. When you have a friend and going through a really hard time, and you ask that friend, how's it going? She says, it's tough, but it's just one part of my life. The rest of my life is pretty good. But yeah, I'm feeling a lot of sadness. The very same person could be going through that down the road, and you would ask that person, hey, how's it going? I heard you lost your dad, or whatever it might be. Oh, it's terrible. Life is terrible. And the neighbors are making so much noise, and Trump is doing this, and China's doing that. The whole world's gone to hell. I mean, everything's gone to hell. Two different people with the same situation, let's say, and they choose, through thought, to create their own meaning. Reaction versus creation. You take any area of your life, I'm pretty sure you can prove that to be true. Speaking to a friend the other day, and they've moved from New York down to the South. And they said, oh, Dermot, it's a completely different life down here. Oh, it's totally different, totally way of living, the whole lot. And what's interesting was, we were talking a little bit about it, and he said to me that, he was talking about it was the circumstances of what's going on in his life. And that's why he was, not feeling great or not on purpose with his life. And I said, have you ever considered that it might have nothing to do with your circumstance, your outside circumstance, the world, and everything to do with how you're thinking about it? And we talked about that. And I don't know what they heard, but they heard something in it, because I can tell when somebody shifts. And hopefully you'll have that shift today throughout our show at some point, or maybe later. But I've seen it happen where people start to realize that it's not the outside world that makes you feel this. It's not the outside experience that makes you feel that. It's 100% of our experience about the outside world is created from the inside through thought. So we're living in the reality of our thinking. We're not living in the reality of the world. We're living in the feeling of our thinking. We have a thought, creates a feeling. That feeling we say is reality. That person made me angry. But I guarantee you, if you were to look at your thoughts, you would see in that moment you're having angry thoughts. I don't like that person. I hate that person. I can't believe that person said that to me. Who the hell do they think they are? Now, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong or that you have to even change your thoughts, because you don't. That's like sneezing on a bus to try and stop it. It's not possible to change your thoughts. You can change them for a couple of moments or even 20 seconds. But have you ever noticed that thoughts are like the wind? They're like buses. They come and go all day long. And your feelings go up and down all day long. I have clients that say, Dermot, I'm like a painter's brush. I'm up and down. I'm like a yo-yo. And I say, yeah, that's part of living. That's okay. That's part of life. Our feelings wax and wanes with our thoughts. Now, I have people say, well, Dermot, I need to change my thoughts so that the world doesn't scare me, so I'm more confident, I'm more powerful, I'm more courageous in the world. And I say, you don't need to change your thoughts to do that. Just be in the world. As Michael Neal says, show up for what shows up. I really like that. Be in the world. Show up for what shows up. You see, we are moment by moment creating our reality through thought. But thought, everyone, is not our reality, because thought is not real. Let me say that again, because that's deep, Dermot. That's very deep. Well, thank you for whatever person just came through there. Oh, you didn't know there's like 500 people in here? Oh, yeah, at least. Because there's about 1 million thoughts a day, so each thought comes with a person. Have you noticed that? You're like a different person with each thought. It's like God's joke. Thanks, God. Really appreciate that one. I don't know who I am from moment to moment. I have no idea. Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Who am I, Dermot? I don't really know. I have no idea, damn it. I know. That's just God's joke, right? Life's what happens when you're making plans, as Mr. Lennon says. All right. We create our reality through thought. So let's take that part for a moment. We create our reality through thought. Reality is basically what we say our life is, what's real to us, right? We create. Now, how do we create? We create through thought. We have a thought that creates a feeling. That feeling we call an experience, right? Oh, I love this. Oh, I don't like that. Oh, I appreciate you. Oh, I hate you. It's a thought, creates a feeling, and that feeling we call reality. That's it. It's really, really simple. It's so simple, it's jokeable, laughable. Lokeable, which is laugh and loke together. Right? So we create our reality through thought, not the world. Now, second part. But thought is not our reality. Now, what does that mean? I'm glad you asked. It's like my mind, you know. I'd love to be able to, I'd love to be able to stop my mind from thinking, and then forget to start up again. Wouldn't that be great? If you just like your mind just went on pause, like. And that was it. There was nothing else. Wouldn't that be great? All right. That's what meditation's for. At least that's what they tell me. I just think about shopping when I'm meditating. Okay. So, but thought is not our reality, which means that thought itself is not our reality, because thought is just thought. It's just an energy. It's like we're the antenna, and the big guy or girl or whatever up in the sky is sending signals. We're receiving them. They're not real. They're not tangible. Of course, neither is the table. The table looks tangible. You can touch it, but it's actually just photons, which are light particles. So it actually doesn't have any real. But that's another show. So thought is not our reality. In other words, we think a thought and we say, that's my reality. I don't like that person. I really don't like that person. I can't believe that person did that. And that's our reality. We say that's our reality. But it's not. Thought is not our reality. And the reason is, the last part is because thought is not real. Thought is just, think about emotion. E equals mc squared. Energy in motion. Emotion. Energy in motion. A thought creates emotion. Right? A thought is simply a wave of energy, right, in motion. That's what a thought is. And that thought creates the emotion. The emotion is what we say, this is how I'm feeling, this is my reality. But because thought is not real, the reality that we're thinking in our heads is not real. So what is real, Dermot? Is anything real? I mean, come on. Is anything real? That's a good question. That is a good question. Science tells us. Science tells us that nothing in this world is real. Now, when we talk about it not being real, like I'm sitting here in a radio station, and there's couches and chairs and water and CDs and even records, and it looks pretty real. But on a scientific level, everything is a form of a wave of energy. At the atomic level, it's just light particles. It's just photons. Amazing. And all these photons, the American Indians called it the web of life, which is funny now because our whole world is connected through the World Wide Web, right? So we're using that metaphor again to show how we really are connected, although I can't say the whole World Wide Web is connected in that way. But on an atomic level, we're all connected. All the stars, all the worlds, everything is connected. Science has even proven, those boys up in NASA and ladies have proven that everything is connected through a waveform, through an energy waveform, a web. It's fascinating. The science behind it is absolutely off the charts. So we're connected. Now, we're even connected through thought. You ever have a thought and, I think my mom's going to call me, or it would be nice if I could talk to my mom right now, and she calls you. Or you're thinking a thought. The other day I was thinking about coaching, and I was sitting down. I was just thinking about this client that I'd coached and got some great results. And I was just sitting there. I was just really happy about it, and playing back in my head. And my girlfriend asked me, "Hey, are you thinking about coaching right now?" I said, "Yeah." It's like, and we have those all the time. We'll constantly catch a thought. She'll catch a thought. Amazing. So we're connected through our thoughts because we're connected through this web. So we create our reality through thought. But thought is not our reality because thought is not real. It's not something that you can put in a bucket. It's not something you can sell. However, if you look around you, everything in your house was created from thought. We create our reality through thought. That's why scientists say now that there's no edge to the universe. It can't be possible because we're creating as we go. Just look at your own life. Look at all the things you've created in your life. Relationships, money, job opportunities, new cars, babies, experiences. I mean, endless. Making cups of tea. You're creating all the time. And people come to me in coaching and they say, "Oh, I don't know how to create, Dermot. I'm not one of those creative types." And I said, "That's the greatest load of holy hogwash, Harry. It's the greatest load of Blarney I've ever heard in my life. Because we are creators. We are creation itself. We were born out of a creation. We were created into this world through a thought. My dad and my mom had a thought. They took action on it, and here I am. Created thought in form, or thought in form, or creation in form, or thought creation in form, however, form in thought. I mean, however you want to say it, from thought. All right, so here's your question for today. Have you ever considered that thought has something to do with your experience of the world? Have you ever considered the thought that thought has something to do with your experience of the world, of your life, of a situation? Have you ever considered that thought has something to do with fear, with you feeling fear? If we are creating, we are in thought, or we have fearful thinking, that is going to create a fearful emotion inside of us. Can't work any other way. Has to work that way. There's no other way it could work. Now, you could say you have the thought and the feeling together. I mean, it doesn't matter. That's just semantics. But you'll always have a thought, whether you're aware of it or not, that has a feeling attached to it, and that feeling creates your experience. I'm afraid, I'm happy, I'm joyful, I'm peaceful, I'm loving, I'm appreciative, I'm grateful, whatever it is, I'm angry, I'm annoyed, all of that. Because we live in a world of thought. Everything is thought created. Everything in our world started with a thought. Oh, wouldn't it be cool if we had some type of device that we could pick up and press some numbers and talk to a person 100 miles away? Or, hey, wouldn't it be great if we had a device where when you speak into it, your voice gets amplified and you can hear it 1,000 miles away? Wouldn't it be great if we had like a plastic knob that when you turned it to the right, you could hear the music even louder? Wouldn't it be great if we had something, where you could, instead of sitting on the ground, you could, sit up off the ground so you don't get dirty? And chairs. Hey, wouldn't it be great if I didn't have to go outside every day and dig a big hole and then squat when it hurts my knees? Wouldn't it be great if we had some type of porcelain thing that we could sit on with a handle, and when you hit it, the water went down along with everything else? A thought. Everything in the world is created by thought. Alrighty then. So have you ever considered that thought has something to do with your experience? All right, this first part of our show. Coming up in our second part of our show, everyone, we're going to be talking about if it's to be, it must be up to me. See, we can plan for our life, but don't expect to live your plan or for your plan to work out. We're going to be talking about letting go. I love that line in Alanis Morissette, where she says, when I let go of it, that's when I got more than I could handle. Love that song. We're going to be talking about letting go or being dragged. And I also have a question for you. All right, so stay tuned. Coming back. Tired of that song. I really like that happy-go-lucky Irish music. It's very cool. It's very cool. All right. If it's to be, it must be up to me. Now, if you just joined the show, you're listening to the Celtic Coach radio show, where science, spirituality, and self-discovery meet. Welcome to the show, everyone. Today we're talking about fearlessly living in the world. Living in the world fearlessly. Or fearlessly in the world living, however you want to say it. Now, the second part of our show is something that I used to really believe to be true. And I acted upon this for many, many years of my life, until about age 30 when I went to LA. And life knocked on the door and said, Dermot, you know, the way you're living is not working. I don't know if you know this, but the way you're living, Dermot, the road you're going down, it's not pretty. It's not very happy-go-lucky place. In fact, the road you're going down, Dermot, I wouldn't offer it to anyone else. You might want to reconsider what you're doing in your life. And life just pulled the carpet from underneath me. And then I got into life coaching, and I did a lot of different things. I was in Al-Anon. It's a program for kids, who, you know, children of alcoholics and all of that stuff, and life coaching up the yin yang, down the yang yin, and into the yin 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 yang. And I studied and went to all these different workshops and did a 2-year course, spirituality. I mean, just incredible stuff that I did in LA. Opened me up to a whole new world, a whole new way of thinking and being, and it's the incredible person that I am today. Humble as I am. But it's been a wild ride. It's why I love coaching so much. All right. So here's the thing about if it's to be, it must be up to me. I used to think that all of life was up to me. And I pushed and pushed and pushed so hard against life. I've got to do this. I've got to do that. I'm getting it out of them. And I was pushing all the time, and I just got exhausted. And I used to think that if it's to be, if my life is going to be great, it must be up to me and me alone and nobody else. And I run the universe. And have you ever noticed that you're not running the universe? Have you ever noticed that the universe is doing just fine before you got here and will do fine after you're gone? And yet we think that we have this control over our lives. I used to think that I controlled my life. And when I got sick or something happened, broke an arm or broke a leg or got sick, you know, whatever it was, used to have very bad neck problems or my back would go out. And I would curse the heavens. And I would say, how is this possible this can happen to me? Have you ever been there? You ever had that experience? And I wasn't willing to experience life on life's terms. It had to be on my terms. And when it wasn't on my terms, I got very annoyed. I got very frustrated. I got very peed off with the world and with life and with people around me. And I made people around me miserable. I was very intense when I was in my 30s. Well, Dermot, you're still a little intense. Well, you know, it's softened. It's like, I wouldn't say it's butter, but let's say it's butter with some edges. Kerrygold. So I always thought that it was up to me to create a great life. And as I started studying, I started as Alanis said, when I let go, I got more than I could handle. When I let go and started to let go. Now, it's a process, everyone. Everything in life is a process. It's got a start, a middle, and an end. Everything, whether it's a conversation, whether it's going to the bathroom, whether it's thinking up a new idea and putting it out into the world, whether it's living a great life, whatever it is, it has a process, a start, middle, and end. Anything, everything in life. And so for the insights to come, there's a process that needs to happen. That's on God's time. That's on life's time. That's on Spirit's time, whatever you want to call that. Doesn't matter. It's like, the deaf dog. What do you call a deaf dog? Oh, you can call him anything you want because he doesn't hear you. Right? Now, what's interesting is about this idea of if it's to be, it must be up to me. When we can take a day in your life, take an experience in your life and look at, hey, that wasn't up to me, but it happened. Now, it's funny, when things happen that we don't like, we call them problems. And when things happen that we do like, we call them miracles. We call them wonderful moments, right? When things happen that we don't like, we call them not good experiences, negative experiences. And by the way, it's only negative or positive because you think it is. Each moment is created through thought. Every experience is felt, is experienced through the avenue of thought. The bridge between the past and the future, thought. Bridge between the future and the past, thought. The bridge between the past and now, thought. The bridge between now and the future, thought. Now, in this world, you can either start to let go or you can be dragged. That's your options. Let go or be dragged. And I got to tell you, dragged is not fun. And I know you know what I'm talking about because everybody in this world has been dragged. I mean, it's quite possible that I was dragged out of the womb, kicking and screaming. No! Don't! I don't want to go out here. Let me stay in there where it's warm. And the food is free. And the rent is free. Right? We've all had points in our life where we've been dragged. But we've all had moments in our life when we're sitting there and we're just relaxed, peaceful, not pushing against life. Because life's got its own rhythm. Life's got its own agenda. Life's got its own speed. And if you're not willing at least a little bit to allow life to happen instead of trying to push to make things happen, you're going to have a tough life. I know. I speak from experience, my dear listeners. That was for you, Shay. I speak from experience. Let go or be dragged. Now, well, how do you let go, Dermot? How does that happen? Well, I had a dream once, and in the dream I was hanging off a cliff by a rope. And I was screaming. I was so afraid. Because I woke up in the dream, and I actually thought that, oh my God, I'm hanging from a cliff, and I couldn't see anything underneath me. It was just an abyss. And I was holding on, and I could tell that my grip was starting to, I was starting to lose the grip. And I screamed my lungs out, help me, help me, help me. And this voice said, let go. Now, I don't know if the voice was like that, but it was pretty close. And this is not a joke, by the way. You know the guy hanging from the rope, and he says, hey, is there anyone up there that could help me? And God says, let go of the rope. And he says, who is this? And God says, it's God. And then the guy says, is there anyone else up there? That's not that joke. Okay. And I'm hanging there, and I said, help me, help me, help me. And then God said, let go of the rope. And that was pretty good, actually. And I said, no, I'm too afraid. And God said, let go anyway. And then I said to God, I said, how do I let go? And he said, let go. And I let go. And I woke up. And when I woke up, I was smiling. It was very, very interesting. I woke up because I allowed myself to just be in life. I allowed myself to let go. Now, what I got from that dream was, how do you let go? Well, if you're dangling at the end of a rope, how do you let go? You just let go. There's no real way to let go. You just let go. You take a breath and you take a step back from whatever it is you're experiencing, and you allow yourself to experience it. The great Adyashanti said, no manipulation. When you're feeling something, allow yourself to feel it. It's thought in the moment. Your feelings are thought in the moment. And we've already said that thought in the moment will change. So you don't need to worry. If you're having a bad day, have your bad day, and go and do whatever you need to do. Hell, you can even enjoy your bad day. But people think if my life is going to work out, it's up to me. Now, I'm not saying go out there and get God. I'm not saying, although that's a good idea, Dermot. This is a spiritual show, not a religious show. I just want to make that clear. It's not about that. But it's about recognizing when you're holding on. Recognizing when you're gripping. Recognizing when you're forcing. And as soon as so maybe there is a way to let go. When you recognize that you're holding the rope, the very moment that you recognize you're holding the rope or you're gripping or pushing, you notice that in the moment, that's enough. Now you're letting go. That's enough for you to let go. In that moment, when you observe that, recognize it, it's enough just to let go in that moment. So here's your question. Where in your life are you forcing life to happen? Take a moment. Like, I ask these questions, and by the way, I'm on Facebook and LinkedIn every morning, from Monday through Friday. Now, next week I won't be there. So today is July, I think, 27th, and I won't be there next week. But the following week I will be there. So that's 7, 4, so I think around the 10th or 11th, something like that. And on Facebook, you can join my Facebook or LinkedIn page, Dermot Butterly or the Celtic Coach, one or the other. And every morning I do a cup of tea and your question for today. And I just bring a lot of, from my own experience of life coaching people throughout the years, and being a trainer of life coaches. I'm a professional life coach trainer also. I ask questions every morning. It's a really great way to start your day. So feel free to plug in, send me a request and I'll put you on the list. So your question, where in your life are you forcing life to happen? Where might you be in your life forcing life to happen? Where are you pushing? Are you pushing to get a new promotion? Are you pushing to make your relationship work? Are you pushing to get your kids to do what you want them to do? Are you pushing to make more money? Are you pushing because you're afraid and you want to overcome your fears? You don't have to overcome your fears. My coach, I was listening to my coach's Steve Chandler, and I was listening to something he said the other day. It was really interesting. He was talking about this people making impressions. And he said, in making impressions, he said, it's quite violent because the only way you make an impression on something is you have to force against it. You have to push. If you want to make an impression in the cement, you have to force yourself onto the cement to make the impression. And we're constantly doing that with life. We're constantly trying to make an impression in life or with people. We're constantly trying to force an impression or life to happen. So where in your life are you forcing? Where are you pushing? And as soon as you observe where you're pushing, that will be enough. for you just to let go a little bit. And that's all that's needed. You don't need to do anything more than just notice when you're doing it, and the very noticing of it will be enough. All right, everyone, we're going to come back with fear is not real, it's just a thought. And also, before that, we're going to have Seamus. He's just come in. He looks like death warmed up. Seamus, our house leprechaun, is going to be coming in a few minutes with, we got 21 minutes left in the show, with top 11 things you absolutely do not need to know about being a man. Stay tuned. You're listening to the Celtic Coach radio show on KOWS.FM. We're here every Friday from 1 to 3, playing music, Irish music, and from 1:30 to 2:30, we have the content of our show. All right, stay tuned. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back, everyone. You're listening to the Celtic Coach radio show, where science, spirituality, and self-discovery meet. All right, we're talking today about living fearlessly in the world. How can we live fearlessly in the world? Here's the thing, everyone, in case you don't want to listen to the rest of the show. Here it is. Fear is not real. It's just a thought. Like now, when you wake up to that, or when you start to see that in your life, oh boy, does it change things. Oh boy, oh girl, does it change things. It's like you're walking around your whole life with a shadow. And you're afraid of your shadow. And every time you go outside and you see the shadow, you feel fear. You go into a shop, you feel fear. You go outside, you go jogging, you see the shadow, you're fearful. Anytime you see the shadow. And then one day you realize, oh my God, somebody tells you, hey, Dermot, you know, I don't know if you know this, but that person that you think is following you everywhere, that's your shadow. That's a natural part of being human. That's a natural part of life. Fear is part of life. It's thought created. And it's part of life. And it's like when you start to recognize that fear is just part of life, and that it's not even real, it's just a thought, then that starts to slip away. It starts to let go. Now, I'll give you an experience of this. In my coaching, one of the things for a long time is I wanted to reach out to big companies. But I always thought, oh my God, these companies, they won't want to talk to me. I'm not Tony Robbins, you know. But I knew I could help these companies, and I knew I had a lot to offer in terms of coaching and trainings and just helping them to make the company go from good to great. And I knew I had the skills, and no question about it, but I didn't have the confidence. Confidence is a thought. Some days you're feeling confident, your thoughts, you have confident thinking. Some days you don't have confident thinking and you don't feel confident. You don't have to make yourself be confident or courageous. My advice is stay in your comfort zone and take action from there. You know, the world of coaching is get out of your comfort zone. Get out of your comfort zone and make things happen. And I've found that when I'm relaxed, which is in my comfort zone, I get more things done than when I'm out of my comfort zone, lost. I don't know what I'm doing, where I'm going. I'm pushing myself to be courageous and confident and pushing to make things happen and forcing life to happen because I'm out of my comfort zone. I don't get as much done, but when I'm relaxed at home and I'm in comfort, in a zone of comfort, I get a lot more done in a lot quicker amount of time. And you know what? It's a lot more enjoyable. All right. So here's some analogies, or here's some acronyms for you for false. I was playing around with this morning. Fear, right? Fear is not real. It's just a thought. Here it is. False emotion appearing real. F-E-A-R. False emotion appearing real. Right? So we say fear is not real because it's fearful thinking. You're not a fearful person. You're a spark of the divine. You're a divine creation. You're not a fearful person. You may have fearful thinking. Totally fine. Totally Do it anyway. Doesn't matter. Right? So here it is. Here's all the acronyms for fear that I could come up with. Feed ego and regret. False evidence appearing real. False emotion appearing right. False ego appearing right. Forget everything and run. Fool everyone and riot. Or false emotion appearing real, which means false thoughts. False emotion. Because you have a thought, creates an emotion, and you say that's your experience, but it's not. It's just an emotion that you're feeling. It's not your experience. You're experiencing the emotion. You're not experiencing the person. When you drive a new car, you're not experiencing the car. You're driving. You're experiencing the thought, created feeling of the car. When you're with someone, you're not experiencing that person. You're experiencing that thoughts about that person. Oh, she's so wonderful. Oh, God, I love her. Oh, my God, she drives me nuts. Person hasn't changed. They're still the same person they were 2 hours ago or an hour ago. But your thoughts have changed from loving thoughts to whatever, not so loving thoughts. Right? Now, I love this because in Al-Anon years ago, they used to say false evidence appearing real. And I used to like that. And then I thought this morning, well, if it's false evidence appearing real, that's the acronym for fear. It's not real. False evidence appearing real. False emotion, false thoughts. Where's the evidence? Like, have you ever noticed if fear is false evidence appearing real, what evidence do you have that tells you that this experience you're having is correct? And think about that. Like, where's the evidence? Well, that person is doing this and this and this. That's enough evidence I need to know that they're making me feel afraid, or they're making me feel tired, or they're making me feel angry. But even that evidence that you're coming up with in your head is thought. You're having evidence thinking. What are you saying, Dermot? It's all thought? Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. 100% experience of your experience comes from thought. Does not come from the world. You're blaming the outside world for your inside thinking. Fear's not real, everyone. It's just the thought. If you have a thought, it creates an emotion, and that emotion you say is your reality. You say that's what you're living. That's what you're afraid of. I'm afraid of that person. Why? You're afraid of the thoughts you have about that person. Well, that person makes everyone angry. Not true. Not true. Not possible that one person could make everyone angry. Some people loved Hitler. Some people hated Hitler. Some people loved Stalin. Some people hated Stalin. Some people love Trump. Some people hate Trump. What's the bridge from love to hate? Can I get a tea? Thought. Yeah, thought. All right, let's have Seamus come in here. Seamus has got a. Seamus, are you ready to do the at the top? What are you doing over there, Seamus? Oh, I'm doing a little bit of meditation. Seamus, when did you learn to meditate? Would you tell me that? Oh, I've been doing it now for a couple of weeks now, meditating. I did it when I was a child. You meditated when you... This is the first... I didn't even know leprechauns could meditate. How were you meditating as a child, Seamus? You learned as a child? Oh, yeah, my mother, Mrs. Leprechaun, Mrs. O'Shaughnessy, she used to say to us, shut up, sit down, and be quiet. That's how I learned to meditate. Oh, well, That makes sense, Seamus. That makes sense, and you would meditate. All right, Seamus, get over here. I'm going to play your Irish music here for you, and come on over here and do your top 11 list. All right, everyone, be back with our house leprechaun, Seamus, and the top 11 things you absolutely do not need to know about being a man. All right, this one's for all the ladies out there. All right, stay tuned. We'll be right back under a minute. We say that in Ireland all the time. All right, hello everyone here. Seamus O'Flaherty here with the top 11 things you absolutely do not need to know about being a man. All right, for all the girls and all the ladies and all the beauties out there. I can't really whistle, you know, but if I could, I would. All right, top 11 things you absolutely do not need to know about being a man. Here we go. Here we go. Get up there, you boy. Number 11. First rule to being a man is you'll spend a lot of time fixing stuff. Number 10. A man is like a good bottle of wine. He can make you forget everything. Number 9. When a woman gets a cold, she goes to work with a sniffle. When a man gets a cold, he goes to bed for 3 days. I was going to say he goes to war, but he goes to bed for 3 days. Number 8. All right. There's a name for men who make jokes about women. Oh, yes, in Ireland we have this too. There's a name for those men who make jokes about women. Single. Number 7. Men love to give the gifts, love to give the ladies gifts. Just look at Santa. That needs a bit of work, Seamus. Ah, well, sure. It's life, isn't it? That's life. All right, number 6. I'll tell you something now I don't understand here, number 6. Well, I mean, I do. And number 6 is this. But I don't understand it, because I wish I did. Why is man grunting not an acceptable form of communication? Like, I don't get that. I don't know why it should be. Like when we say, huh? Right? What? Like, why is that not an acceptable form of communication? All right. Ladies, you still think there are no good men left in the world? Well, you need to go to China, because by 2020, China will have between 30 and 40 million men looking for wives. So I don't want to hear you say there's no more good men in the world. Go to China, 40 million. Number 4, ladies. Oh, this works. Now, I have to say, this works on me every time. She gets me to do this every blinking time she says this to me. She gets me to do it. Ladies, the best way to get your man to take out the garbage is to suggest that he's too old. In fact, ladies, if you want to get your man to do anything, be it in the evening, late at night, or early in the morning before you're going to work, you know what I mean? Suggest that he's too old, and by God, you'll see the Russian stallion jump out from the hedge and pounce on you. That didn't make any sense, Seamus. Well, it makes sense to someone. All right, number 3. Believe it or not, ladies, it's very true. Now, this is true. Men would rather take a bullet than talk about their feelings. Yeah, it's true. True. I corroborate that one. Number 2. It must have been a woman who invented instant replay. You know, on your television you have the instant replay. To help men remember what just happened. I reckon they should have like instant replay for life. You know, like if you're sitting down with your missus and you have an argument and you could record it, and then later on you could go back to the argument when you're in loving feelings, you know, in bed or whatever, and you could play it again to see who actually won the argument. Number one. All right. The number one thing you absolutely do not need to know about being a man is this. Now, I have this, so I know. Men who have a pierced ears, I have that, tattoos, and possibly gone to war, are better equipped for marriage because they've experienced pain and they know how to buy jewellery. I'm Seamus O'Flaherty. You've been listening to the Celtic Coach radio show, Top 11 Things You Absolutely Do Not Need to Know About Being a Man. Until the next time, I'm out of here. Think big and whatever Dermot says. And that, my dear listeners, telling you, that, my dear listeners, is no Blarney. Cheers, everyone, and be good to your cats. Let's wrap up the show, everyone. That was pretty good, Seamus. That was pretty good, I have to say. I was quite impressed with your top 11 list today. Now, before we go, I want to tell you something. I want to share something with you before we head out here, and then we're going to wrap up the show. Through August 19th through the 31st, August 19th through the 31st, every year I take 2 weeks and I coach my butt off. I just coach people for 1 hour. Now, no strings attached. I'm putting it out there that I'm going to coach 20 people between the 19th and the 31st of August. And the first 20 people to for you guys, since you're listening on YouTube or SoundCloud or something like that, you can email me at the Celtic Coach, CELTIC, the Celtic Coach at Gmail. Let me know. Send me a brief email. Say, Dermot, I'm interested in a 1 hour coaching session with you, no strings attached. Please send me the link, and I'll send you my schedule or link, and you can put yourself down for an hour. Now, I'm going to be doing this for 20 people for 60 minutes, starting from the 19th through the 31st of August, 2 weeks. It's just to hone my skills as a coach. I do it every year just to do a lot of coaching in a short amount of time. Now, please do not email me if you're someone who just wants to have a talk. I'm going to give you 60 minutes of my time. It's on me. And if you want to have a powerful, meaningful, life-changing conversation, then email me at thecelticcoach@gmail.com, and I'll send you the link. And we'll have 60 minutes. Bring your biggest problem. Bring the thing to the conversation. I'm not looking for any easy fixes. I want to hone my skills. I've been doing this for quite a while. Bring something big. Bring something, a project you want to start, a dream you have that you're afraid to jump on. Bring a problem that you can't solve. Bring something that you really love to experience in your life, but you're not doing it. Whatever it is, bring that to the table. Don't bring anything like, oh, well, Dermot, I'd really like to learn how to play the guitar. Not interested in that, everyone. And I mean that with all respect. I'm looking for people who want to make some shift, who are serious about making changes in their life and possibly in the world. If you're that type of person, then email me and I'll send you the link. There's 20 spots, and that's starting today. Today is July 27th. 19th through the 31st of August is when I'll be coaching, and it's all done by Zoom. So feel free to take advantage of that. All right, let's wrap up the show, everyone. We were talking today about living in the world fearlessly, or fearlessly living in the world. A few of the things, these are things I'd just like you to take away from. I'd like you to ponder these few things in from the show today. Where in your life is fear running the show? Ask yourself, look at each part of your life and say, where in my life is fear running the show? Ask yourself, where in your life are you forcing life to happen? In a relationship, with your friends, with your family, with money, with a career, with health, with a relationship, whatever it might be. Where are you forcing your life to happen? Life's going to happen, everyone. We are creators. We are infinite creators. We can create whatever we want. I've proved that to many, many clients. I've proved that to myself over the years. It's absolutely true. We can create, do, and have and experience anything that we want to in life. The only thing that stops us is fear. And fear is not real. Fear is just thought in the moment. Fearful thinking comes, fearful thinking goes. Sometimes you're courageous, sometimes you're not. Sometimes you've got fearful thinking, sometimes you've got courageous thinking. It comes and goes. It's like a painter's brush. It's up and down all day long. Consider the possibility, everyone, from today's show that thought absolutely has something very significant to do with your experience. In fact, consider that thought creates your 100% of your experience. You see, we spend our time blaming the outside world for our feelings. We spend our time blaming the outside circumstances for the inside emotions or feelings. And the opposite is true. It's the inside thinking that creates our experience of the world. The world is not creating the experience for us. The experience is being created through us, not the other way around. We create our reality through thought, but thought is not our reality because thought is not real. Take away from the show today the acronym false emotion or false evidence appearing real. Fear has got no hold on you. There's nowhere you can go to open a jar and see fear inside. There's nowhere you can go and buy a bottle of fear. There's nowhere you can go and look at fear because it doesn't exist. There's nowhere you can look at the wind because it's invisible. In the same way that fear, it just is not real. So I hope you've enjoyed our show today, and as always, we're here every Friday from 1 to 3, 2:30 to 3:30 Pacific time. 1:30 to 2:30 Pacific time is when we have our content, and then 30 minutes before the show and 30 minutes after the show, we play the best in Irish music and 80s. So I hope you've enjoyed the show. It's always a pleasure, everyone. I'm not going to be here next week. I'm going to be away on a silent retreat. Shh, don't tell anyone. So it'll be a replay of a show. I'm actually going to do a replay of a show with Catherine Casey on how to really create a great, great life for yourself. So stay tuned for that, and we'll see you back the week after next. Until the next time, I'm the Celtic Coach. Think big, have fun, stay curious. And that, my dear friends, is no Blarney. Cheers, everyone.